Hi, this is Shelly with PAC-BTV, and I'm here today with Steve Ladd. Steve is a local expert in insurance, and he decided to come on Ask the Expert here at PAC-BTV, and he's going to clarify a topic for us, which is when home buyers purchase their home, they have a purchase price, and then when they call for the insurance quote, that quote price is actually higher. Why is that, Steve?
And actually we get that question quite often, so I'm glad we were able to address this one. So when you buy a house or you are insuring a home, the value of insurance is going to always be different than what the market value was or what the sales price was. And the reason for that is because it is incumbent upon the insurance company to make you whole again. That's the whole nature of the insurance policy. And in order to make you whole again, they have to provide you with something like what you had before. And the cost to reproduce that is going to be different almost all the time than what the market value of the property is. So for example, you may buy something that ultimately costs, say, $95 a square foot from a market value perspective,
Right.
but it might cost $165 a square foot to rebuild and make you whole again. So for the insurance company to make sure that they're not going to take your 2,400 square foot house that you purchased and replace it with a 1,200 square foot house, they have to make sure that they're insuring you for full replacement value and nothing less than that.
That makes sense. Now what about the assessed value? Do people see the assessed value on the county websites and assume the same, or they just go off purchase?
They will go off purchase price sometimes and think that that's what their assessed value and their insurance value will be.
Okay.
However, typically the assessed value is going to mirror the market value most often. So, for example, if you purchased a brand new home, let's say, and there was no previous market value to that particular house, then that purchase price for the home often becomes the assessed value or pretty close to it. You roll the land in and stuff like that, but ultimately it's going to be the purchase price that dictates what the assessed value is going to be. Again, miles away oftentimes from what the actual insurance value will be. For example, you can go into the city and pick up a Victorian for what could ultimately be like $80,000.
Right.
But the cost to rebuild that Victorian is going to far exceed $80,000 if the whole thing were going to be destroyed. Now, one other point to make in all of this is that there is another element to insurability called actual cash value. And actual cash value means that the insurance company will cover you for what the depreciated value of the particular property is currently. So if it's a 65-year-old building and there are very limited numbers of improvements that have happened over the last 65 years, it's going to be heavily depreciated. And somebody may say, well, that's fine, I'll go ahead and depreciate that down and insure it for that. But the real problem isn't so much in the full and total loss, it's in a partial loss, right? So if something happens with, let's say, the roof, and the roof is going to cost $10,000 to replace, then the consumer generally thinks that they're going to go ahead and have a $10,000 roof purchased by the insurance company for them to have put back onto the house. But with an actual cash value policy, that roof is going to be depreciated and they're going to be left with whatever the value of that roof was minus their deductible. So the roof could be 15 years old and they may only get about $3,000 for this $10,000 roof minus their $1,000 deductible, and they're left with $2,000. So there doesn't seem to be a great deal of need to want to insure for actual cash value if that's all you're going to get. And once people start to realize that, then they gravitate more toward the replacement cost. Plus the premium isn't that much different anyway, so why pay just about the same price anyhow for a drastically reduced amount of coverage on the policy.
So that makes complete sense, and obviously I'm learning a lot as I'm sitting here talking to Steve, and I know just in my own experience, people want to call, they want a 5-minute conversation, they want the numbers. It really is important to take the time to have the conversations, to see what you're insuring, and what you're getting, what's the value for the dollar that you're paying. So thank you very much for coming today, Steve. If you have questions for Steve, or you have another question for an expert that we have right here in Baldwinsville, email PAC-BTV at 2019@gmail.com, and we'll try and clarify that for you.